And now these people from the future are showing up and offering to do the same work for next to nothing. They took our job.
14 years we've been working our butts off. Now these future folk come in and we can't get work nowhere. Well, they took our jobs.
They took your job. They took our job. They took your job. They took your job. Your job.
Oh, they took our jobs.
They took your job.
They took your job. Took your job.
Oh, but that's the problem. Those goobacks are taking our jobs.
What?
Oh my God! They took our jobs!
They took our jobs!
All right, Redneck, your rebuttal?
They took our jobs!
They took our jobs! Hey, that's right. If there is no future, then there'll be no people from the future to come back and take our jobs.
Now come on, people, we've got to think. Damn it, they took our job! They took our job!
They took our jobs!
They took our job! Oh my God. They took my job!
They took your job.
Now we're going back to the pound.
Damn it, they took my job!
They took his job.
I know. Shh.
Oh man, they took his job.
They took a dog.
They took his dog! They broke it there! Took it there!
They broke his jaw.
They broke his jaw!
Took it there.
So I recently watched the latest episode of South Park, which was supposed to be about confronting the politics of the Tiki Torch rally in Charlottesville, which was a white supremacist rally. This is not a light subject, and I remember people being sort of outraged by the fact that Trey Parker and Matt Stone had made claims that they weren't going to examine the Trump administration too closely. They felt it was low-hanging fruit. Now, my history with South Park is 60-40. I think that South Park was important when the political conversation in this country was as simple as liberal versus conservative, meaning liberals and conservatives were basically having a discussion about how to distribute wealth and resources in an economy that is mostly stable. And for all of the flaws of, the 20th century American liberal democracy, it was still intact. Why that doesn't hold now is that we don't have an intact democracy. The election of Donald Trump was a cue to the left and the right that the conversation in America is no longer a discussion about the distribution within the existing order. That there's already a consensus between the two major parties, which are basically dead parties at this point, because the people who are coordinated by the Republican Party to become president were rejected. And the person who was coordinated by the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton, was rejected, soundly rejected. And this rejection of existing parties, to me, puts liberals and conservatives out of the conversation. It is a question now of reactionaries. And some of them, millennial wolves will actually own this. A lot of people on the alt-right will actually own that they are reactionaries. It is now a discussion, a conversation between reactionaries and radicals. So, South Park was really relevant once as a liberal force, balancing out the neoconservatives in a semi-functional, fairly stable liberal democracy that was America at the time. But in the post-Trump world, those tiki torch Nazis are not, one of the solutions proposed by the episode was that, we just need to get these tiki torch Nazis jobs. They're just Luddites who are clinging to outdated jobs like truck driving and coal mining. But even worse than that, the A plot is of the main character's mother and father starting a show about house flipping, which seems to me like kind of a gentrification thing. So what I was most concerned about is the idea that somehow, and this reaches out beyond South Park, that somehow the people to take on the alt-right are liberals, which is absurd, because liberals are always looking for, liberals work under the assumption that the existing order is stable and intact and has a future. That's why they always are like, let's come to a point of compromise, because we don't want to upset the whole order. We don't want to start over from scratch. At this point, in the wake of Citizens United, in the wake of a series of increasingly brutal trade deals, in the face of the American housing crisis, America is a failed state. You are living in a failed state. And much of Europe, again, we need to remember that all of this is in America and Europe. America and Europe. Because what happened was, instead of investing in the economy after the 2008 crash, America and Western Europe decided to embark on brutal austerity campaigns. Just like before the Second World War rise of fascism, the precursor to this wave of reactionary right-wingers in the West is basically a bunch of aggrieved white dudes who are highly educated, highly skilled, but there's no economy for them. There's literally, it's not that they're Luddites. These people at Charlottesville weren't your old school Klansmen, your old school country boy. These were basement dwellers. These were trolls, man. These were people who did what society told them to do, and then the elites betrayed them, and instead of holding those elites accountable, someone like Donald Trump, they embraced those elites in exchange for the promise of social privilege. Social privilege. It's a very old Edmund Burke Little Lord contract. All these white people want back is, they know they're not going to get money from the existing order. Someone like Trump is not going to distribute money down. But what they can try to reclaim is segregation, slavery. They can try to reclaim the white man's and white family's social privilege. That's the secret of the alt-right. The alt-right is a campaign to say, look, we know that Republicans and Democrats are going to fuck us economically either way, but we want to be, if we're all going to be poor, we want white poor people to be privileged above black and non-white poor people. That's what they're in those streets talking about. You will not replace us. They're talking about, you will not replace us in the existing order. We're number two around here. You know what I mean? We're number two in this hierarchy. So I don't think that, the Tina Fey eat cake thing and this hug a Nazi stuff that just came on Twitter today from the Portlandia cast. I don't think you can blame liberals for thinking you can solve things with compromise, because they still think that they're dealing with conservatives. You do not send a liberal to do a radical's job.